This is Jessica with cutesycrafts.com. It has been quite a while since I walked you through a project from start to finish. So I thought since I was working on these Thanksgiving napkins that I would take a minute and make a little video to show you step by step how to make them and how to embroider the words. So all they are some cloth napkins that I embroidered Thanksgiving words on. Super easy. And I got them on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description for you where you can buy them. Unfolded, I think they measure about like 20 by 20. So I made sure to make the words small enough so that I can fold it in fourths, or you can also fold it again like that. And how cute would that look on a plate for Thanksgiving? So I've got 4 done here. I have 4 more to do. So I'll show you the whole process of how to make one of the napkins. First things first, make sure to wash and dry your napkins because there will be some shrinkage, and then also they get really wrinkly, so you'll need to iron them on a high setting with steam, and maybe even spray it with a little bit of water when you're ironing it. You'll also need to get my free pattern, and directions to download this are in the comments below. Basically, you just go to my blog and subscribe, and you'll be taken to a link that has these to download. I'll also put a link in the description for this font that I used, so that way, if in case you wanted to do different words, you will be able to download those as well. So the first thing to do is transfer my pattern onto my napkin. There are several different ways to do this. I will leave a link in the description of the different ways that you can use. I just have my friction pen. It's kind of controversial because the marks can come back if they are in freezing cold temperatures. This is just what I like to use because I know that I'm going to be covering my stitches anyway. So I've got a light table here. I'm turning it on, and I want to make sure that I get this in the right position. So we're doing the word harvest here. So now we can see I've got an inch from the edge of my napkin to the edge of this T here, and then an inch from the bottom of the napkin to the bottom of the word, and make sure that the word is straight. This font is really kind of crazy, so just do your best to figure out what the bottom should be. So now I've got my pen, and I'm going to trace over the letters. Next, grab a hoop. I'm using a 6-inch hoop. I wanted to use smaller since I'm going to be working on this corner here. I'm using embroidery floss, DMC 3799. It's a super dark gray, almost black. You'll need some scissors, and then I'm using a size 9 needle because we're doing 2 strands of floss. When we're stitching on things like napkins or tea towels, we want to make sure that we don't have a bunch of knots in the back, and we want to keep our back of our work as neat as possible. So I'm going to use a little trick where we cut our string twice the length that we normally would and then double up on it, and I'll show you that in a minute. So I like to have my floss about the length from my fingertips to my shoulder. So we're going to cut 2 lengths of that. So 2 lengths from fingertips to shoulder, and then snip that off. You don't need to be precise. And then I'm only going to grab 1 thread from this. So separate out the ends and grab one of the threads. Loosely hold the rest of the thread with your non-dominant hand, and then just pull up on the 1 thread. The rest will bunch up, and then it will kind of spring back. Wind this up, put it to the side, and then we've got our 1 thread that's super long. Go ahead and fold that thread in half so you're bringing the 2 ends of the thread together. Straighten that out, and then at the other end you'll have a loop where the fold is. Take those 2 strands at the end and thread them onto your needle. Pull that through a few inches just like you normally would. So again, you'll just have that folded loop at the end, and I'll show you what we'll do with that once we get stitching. Take your hoop, loosen the top screw, and then we're not going to be able to put this completely on the hoop, so just do the best you can because you don't want the hoop to get in the way of your stitching. So just right on the edge there on the bottom. And then you might have some on the side here that doesn't get in there. It's not ideal, but it works. Pull around the sides if there's any of the fabric that is loose, making sure not to distort your lettering. You want to make sure that this still looks the way that you want it while you're stitching. Tighten the top screw as much as you can. And then I like to pull it again. So when embroidering a word or lettering like this, you don't embroider the same way that you write, because that would end up giving you a mess on the back. So anytime there's like a hard corner, you want to stop what you're doing. And like I said, will show you that as I'm stitching. So to start our thread without a knot in the back, remember we have this loop on the end, bring it up on the edge of the letter. So we're doing 2 strands of floss, and we're going to be doing a stem stitch. Pull your thread through, but leave about 1 inch on the back. And since we're doing the stem stitch, we're going to go 1 stitch forward, and this is a curve, so we want to make sure to keep our stitches very, very short, especially on the tight curves. On this R right here, my stitches get really, really short on that little loop there. So bring this stitch forward, being careful not to pull that loop through on the back yet. So you can go ahead and bring that down just 1 stitch. So I've still got my loop on the back here, and then I'm going to run my needle through the loop, pull it, and catch it. So I've created an anchor here on the back. Now since this is a stem stitch, I'm going to pull this loop up a little bit because I need it out of my way. Doing the stem stitch around a curve, you want the needle to come up on the side of the outside of the curve. So I don't want my needle on this side of the curve, on the inside. I want to bring it up on the outside over here. So we're still coming on the same line up in the middle of where I started my first stitch and where I went down. So bring your needle up right in the middle on the same line and on that side of this stitch. Pull that through, and then I'm going to come back to the back because I want to make sure that I didn't undo that anchor that I did back there. And I didn't, so I'm good. So I'm going to pull that, give it a little tug, not too tight. You don't want to distort your fabric. So that's how we start with the first stitch. Now again, since we're doing a curve, I'm going to just do a very small stitch forward. The shorter you make your stitches, the smoother your curves are going to be. All right, now this time for my second stitch, I'm going to leave a loop on top, get it out of the way. I'm pulling it down toward the middle of the curve because I want to bring my needle up on this side of the thread, on this side of the stitch that I'm making. Instead of bringing it up in the middle, I'm bringing it up in the spot that the first stitch went down in. So here's my first stitch from here to here. This is where I'm bringing my needle up in the spot where that first stitch went down in. So bring that up through, it's the exact same hole, give it a tug, and then that loop that was on top will tighten. And then just continue around the curve. Make sure you're doing short stitches. Move the loop out of the way and bring your needle up in the spot that the previous stitch went down in, and continue bringing it up on the same side every time when you're doing that line. Now that I'm getting to a straighter part of the letter, I can start lengthening out my stitches just slightly. I still don't want them to be super long, especially compared to the smaller curves. So now this line is ending here, and I want to stop right here because I know that I want to start again up here and follow this line down. So I don't want to take my stitch up that way because I want that line to come down. So I'm going to end my stitch right here, right on the line, so that the next stitch will cover. Bring that down. Since I'm ending here and want to start here and it's a straight line and I'm going to be covering that in stitches later, for this case I can just bring my needle up where I want it. There'll be a line in the back I'll show you. So you can see that bigger line in the back there. That will eventually get covered once I come back down with the stitches here. So I'm going to start just like I did before, do 1 stitch length forward. I'm going to leave the loop on the top, and since the curve, the main part of the curve could switch like on the H here, but the main part of the curve on this one's going this way. So I'm going to bring my needle up, since it's the first stitch in between the 2 points, and bring my thread out this way toward the outside of the curve. If it does happen to change, like on the H here, don't change the way that you are bringing your needle up. Continue along the same line the way that you started, or your stitch is not going to look right. Now we need to bring our thread from here to here without making a big line on the back. So I'm going to turn my work over, and since there's stitches on the back from here to here where I need to get, I'm going to take my needle under the stitches in the back and just start threading them under each one that leads up to that point. So just keep going until you get to the point where you need to bring your needle up at. So I think I'm about there, so I'm going to turn it back over, and then I'll bring my needle up at this spot on the H, and then that shouldn't have left any big lines on the back. Perfect. So now I have the challenge of getting from this spot here to up here where I want to start the curve of my A. I don't want to just go from here to starting here, because then there's going to be a line that goes straight across from there to there. This is a curve, so we won't be covering that up. So what I'm going to do is, along this curve of the A, I'm going to make very, very small stitches, just a few of them, like probably 3, really, really tiny. And what that's going to do is allow us to travel our thread up here without leaving a line. And then, since the stitches are so small, we will be able to easily cover them up with the stem stitch when we come back around the curve. So there you go, just 3 small stitches. So now just pretend that they aren't there, basically, except for just to make sure that you cover them up. And then you can see I ended that line right there. So now I'm going to start the A at the top right here, come around, do this little loop on the R, stop here at this hard corner here, and then start again, come up here, stop at the top of this hard corner of the B, come around, do this loop, stop here, then start on the E here, come around, stop at the tip of the S, come down, around, stop at the T, and then I'll show you how to do the line and the T last. Now the T is a little bit tricky. We have this really long line from here to here that I need to get to. So I could technically, since it's kind of a straight line, just go from here to here, but it's a really long line. So I'm going to do just like I did on the A earlier, and just make a couple really tiny stitches along this line, and then come back down with my stem stitch and cover these up. So now I'm ending here on this T, and I need to get back to here to make this T. I could start on this side or this side of the line, it doesn't matter. But to travel there, I'm going to turn my work over, and just like we did before on the H, I'm going to travel along the back of my previous stitches by threading my needle underneath them. Keep traveling along until you get to about the point where the line on the T crosses the center line. then go ahead and turn it back over. And we're gonna do like we did before for the first part of the tee and just make tiny traveling stitches along this line. Just a couple of them should do it. And then go ahead and continue your stem stitch along this entire line on the tee. And just like we did on the R, cross over that center line right through like it's not there while you're doing your stem stitch. And there you go. Go ahead and turn the work over. And then again, thread the needle under several of the stitches on the back. Back and forth, and then snip off the end of your thread. So as you can see, the front is nice and neat, and the back also pretty nice and neat. No knots, and it should be able to hold up through the wash. I tested some tea towels using the same method and it worked out perfectly. So that is it, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this step-by-step for how to embroider on these napkins. I've still got 3 more to do. I'm going to do tradition, family, and autumn, so I'll be working on those. If you want to see all of them done and see some pretty staged photos, I will leave a link to the blog post that I'm going to do. You'll also need to go to that blog post to get the free patterns. So go on and head over there and take a look and stay a while and see what else I've got going on. Subscribe to my blog and my YouTube channel if you want to continue to keep up with what I'm working on. Hope you all have a wonderful fall and a wonderful Thanksgiving.